Greetings and salutations, everyone. This is Faith is the Substance. Once again, how are everybody doing? I got through my work day. Thank God. I'm able to start my weekend off. I ran a couple of errands. So I'm here right now with you, and I was sitting here trying to contemplate what I wanted to discuss, because I wanted to kind of, like I said, get into more topics, more things, and just kind of say, or what's in my mind, what's in my heart, what's in my spirit, and so whatever comes out just comes out, right? And I'm noticing it's been a trending factor when it comes to families divided, co-parenting disasters, and a lot of division, especially among black families. And I know that there's a lot of different ethnic groups that go through this when it comes to divorce and co-parenting experiences and toxic relationships. And that's becoming a major factor now, lately. And so I just, want to say, God, please just deliver us from all of the pain and help us to process through all the hurt and harm that we experience in our day-to-day, and knowing that you are always in control and you know and see all things. And I just want you to just be able to guide me through the process of sharing whatever is in my heart, to deliver the message about whatever topic that comes to mind, and where the Spirit leads. Thank you, Lord, for bringing me this far into this process. Amen. All right, so I just want to give a quick little prayer there. And so I just been seeing a lot of different stories about Brian McKnight and DDG, Halle Bailey, Cardi B, Offset. Who else? There's like so many different stories that there's more in the front obviously, because they are in the public eye. But I know you have a lot of people in our family, or people in our lives, in our circles, that are, dealing with the same type of issues in relationships. Cam Newton, he is, it seems like I noticed that he is still hung up on the broken homes conversation, even though he appears to be 10 toes down on certain matters in regards to his children in relationship with their mothers, and the broken homes conversation. But just by him taking the opportunity in every given moment, just about like every recent interview that he's done, that's been the topic of discussion in regards to broken homes. So it touched me in the spirit. I mean, let's just keep it real. It touched him in the spirit. So I do understand that, because I'm not going to pretend that I'm an expert. I'm not an expert. I'm not a mental health clinician or professional. I'm a human being with relatable experiences. So I'm only going to just kind of cherry pick on from my experience and what I learned from it, and to kind of get into more discussion about that, because it seems like it's such a epidemic, epidemic, I should say, and so I don't want to get into, I'm going to have my personal opinions about the individuals that I just brought up, but I don't want to dig too deep into it to the point where, I'm just like saturated in it, because there's a lot of content creators you can go to that have a deeper dive into this, into their individual situations. So when it comes to Brian McKnight, I was looking at some commentary about his situation, and especially after the death of his son Nico, and how he instead of honoring his memory, he chose to use his platform to speak ill on his ex-wife, who's the mother of Nico, and his brother Claude, who I haven't heard any disparaging, offensive thing that Claude said in his video in memory of Nico. But aside from that, they all have followed his story about how he totally detached himself from his older children as if they don't exist, and he took on more of the role of father of his current wife's children. And so he's decided to totally dedicate his time and effort to his new family and totally annul. Because it's like, I say annulment because that's what it seems like, because it's like, you know, his other children never existed. They're not even in his radar at this point. And I don't want to pretend to understand the ins and outs of that family dynamic, because we're not in their households. You know, Brian McKnight has his view on things. The children, the exes, they all have their perspective and their version of what transpired. But I just want to just make sure that I make it clear that it's very diabolical, to say the least. That even if you may not like your children at some point, or you feel that they're entitled or ungrateful, and they were, I'm sure they were at some point, because being who their father was, who father is, I say was, I don't know, because I don't even know if he has a career right now at this point. But just by the way Brian is navigating through this is, to me, is totally wrong, the way he's going about it. Because even if you may not like your children for the moment, or you feel like you've made efforts to be there for them financially or whatever, it doesn't compensate. And I think that's what it is. It's like he's doing like an emotional cutoff when it comes to his older children. Like he's, instead of addressing the issue and trying to come to a resolve, or trying to amend things, making efforts to rebuild and have the direct conversation. Because I'm sure there has to be a window of opportunity for him to have a conversation with his older children without it going to social media or without the mudslinging. But instead, he wanted to just leave those stones unturned and just create a whole new family without any acknowledgement of his other children. So I mean, it's unfortunate, because I saw that there was some social media posts that Nico has made a year ago, pouring out his heart to his father and wanting that relationship with him. Brian Jr. as well, the Brian Jr. I'm talking about the original Brian Jr. Had that position as well, because that they even admitted to the fact that they, as at one point, were, seemed like they took what they had for granted, what their father was able to give them and what they had access to. So I think in this dynamic, I think that we all have knowledge or had some type of relatability to their story, to their situation. But again, the divisiveness overall, to me, I think is very detrimental. And then you have, accusations put out there, and based on, I just want people to have an open mind about their perspective on things, and not base it off of emotion or base it off of how you view that person individually, but just look at the bigger picture, because I'm not, trust me, and this is not a way for me to defend. I'm not on anyone's side here. I'm not Team Brian. I'm not Team, Julie McKnight. I'm not Team whoever else. I'm just saying, just look at the broader picture and look at each person's perspective and just draw your own conclusion based on that, and not based on the fact that Brian is an a-hole, or he's approaching these situations in such a toxic way. So I'm not dismissing that factor. I'm just saying, just kind of have a more broader perspective of how you navigate co-parenting, or navigate this, through this family dynamic. And also just think about whether or not you would treat the situation the same way if you were in it. Because sometimes we, from the outside looking in, it's easy for us to suggest certain things, or it's easy for us to have an opinion on something without being in that situation. So in regards to Offset and Cardi B, okay, here it is, because I know there's going to be probably some virtual tomatoes thrown at me, but they both are toxic towards each other. I know that a lot of people might see the praying mantis as being the problematic one, because he's cheated before, during, after the marriage, babies in between. It was just toxic all around. And then Cardi B, with her background, we are aware where she came from, and even though she has built a name for herself, and she's able to still make millions off of that one album that she made years ago, I think that they both have a major part to play in the demise of their marriage for like the fourth time. So I think that we need to learn, as man or woman, we need to learn that when we're in relationships, if you truly see that person for who they are, and you haven't even given them the opportunity to even change their behavior patterns before you give them another chance or get reconcile with them, you can't complain or you can't get upset about the outcome of the situation, because this has happened between Offset and Cardi B. This has happened between them so many times, between them filing for divorce, getting back together, filing for divorce, getting back together, having a child in between. And so when Cardi B decides to go on social media and have these rants as if you had no idea who you married, and you continue to boast and brag about, how much you love him, and how much he's tried, he's made efforts to work towards reuniting with you, and he'll just for him to just do the same thing again. But again, you knew who you married, just like he knew who he married, because Cardi is far from innocent. We've seen how she moved in these social media streets. We've heard the things she has said from her past as being a dancer in the club, to drugging and robbing men, to all kind of other things, just getting into different battles with other people. And so again, you have to understand the common denominator among both parties should be the children and their well-being. I think that's the overall objective when it comes to co-parenting, raising children. The bigger picture, the overall objective should be the well-being and safety of the children. And so, who else did I bring up? Did I use as a point of reference? I don't remember right now. I don't want to hold, but Remy and Pap, I know a lot of people disappointed about how their relationship ended up, and there are a lot of people that claim that they still love each other. They should just get back together. Let me just touch on that one, because we need to stop with that frame of mind. Because just because you still love someone, just because you're not quite over that person, it doesn't mean that you're meant to be together. Oh, excuse me, I'm sorry. I'm just trying to get some of that excess off my lips. I'm sorry. It doesn't mean that you're meant to be with that person. You have, they still have passion for each other. You can definitely see it from both sides. They both have passion for one another. That's a common factor when you're in a relationship and marriage for a long period of time, and you have memories and history, children together. Those type of ties don't just go away overnight. So of course there's going to be anger, there's going to be pent up frustration, there's going to be passion, there's going to be a lot of effed up things that's being said towards one another, and that's what's happening right now. And you have to understand also, that's part of the healing process too. If you think about it, if they really are dead set or going through a divorce, which I think they should at this point, because even, personally, if I'm with someone and I'm married to them and we're going through a breakup, especially publicly, and you have all these negative things to say about me, then I'm wondering, have you loved me from the beginning? Because I don't think that I would want to be with somebody or try to reconcile with someone if they are coming at me crazy or saying all kind of disparaging things about me that's demeaning me, devaluing me. Why would I want to go back? Why would I want to go back to that? Love is not going to be enough. Love is not going to keep me there at that point. If you're going to have the capacity to say all those things about me, then you felt that way from the very start. I know there's times when we spare each other's feelings when we're in a relationship, but when you go and just go full blast on me like that, with and say with your full chest, you've had these true feelings for me, about me, for a while. And if you totally feel that way about me in this given moment, then no, there's no need for me to even entertain the thought of reconciliation. And with Remy and Pap, it's like it was too much damage. There's so much damage between them, speaking so ill towards each other, getting the child involved, and bringing the child in the middle of it, them having these separate relationships at this point. It's, of course, that they're both on the rebound. That happens because, trust me, I've been there. I've been the rebound person. So a little bit of transparency. My last two relationships. And I, when I keep thinking about it, it's just crazy to me, because my last two relationships were just the same way, both parallel with each other, with the persons going through a divorce. They filed for divorce, and they was in that process back and forth in court with the exes, and I was there, and I was led to believe that they wanted marriage with me, and I knowing I should have known better, but I was caught up in that situation, and caught up in those situations. You would have thought I would learn the first time that I've been caught up in a situation, with a he was married but separated, and really separate homes and everything. And I know people have their opinion or their perspective on the whole separated but legally married, and you know, the whole biblical aspect of it, and I get it. But when you can't see past what you want, and you're so dying to be in a relationship or want to be in a marriage, you know, at that time, that's what I wanted. I wanted that family unit because, you know, I've already felt so, I already felt, you know, devastated by the fact that I allowed myself to be, you know, to be a single mother, because I did not want a child out of wedlock. It happened that way, and I'm going to discuss that more as I build my channel about that, you know, about that space that I was in at that time when that happened, when, you know, I became, you know, a single unwed mother, and that's not something I wanted. But I just wanted that family unit, you know. Once my child was in existence, I wanted to have that family unit, that family dynamic. But yes, anyway, so the first relationship that I had with this person, and, you know, him needing, you know, the time to deal with everything, you know, them having children together, and, you know, we're, you know, I'm so, you know, being conflicted, and, you know, him, you know, him saying that he understands what I was coming from, but not really, because he couldn't see past what he wanted either, and he, you know, obviously wanted someone that he could still be with, to fill in a void. Okay. So I was involved with him for like a 6-month period, and I really loved him, you know, so that's not something I can deny, and I truly believe that, you know, we was going to move forward and, you know, build our lives together. But I decided to end things because it's too much in my conscience and too much in my spirit, because I was conflicted. I mean, and he was also in the church as well. You know, I met his family. His family was, you know, very nice and, you know, cool with me. But it was just still something that I could not shake off. I couldn't shake off. And so it was hard. But after we broke up, he, you know, the divorce was finalized. You know, at that point, the divorce was finalized afterwards, and he got married again to someone else. You know, when because we had spoke about, I think we spoke about a couple of years after our breakup, and he was saying he got married again. He was just catching me up on things, and he was saying about how he was going to have like a wedding party in his aunt's backyard, and he actually invited me. I don't know if he I don't know what was in his thought process. I don't know whether he blurted it out. I don't know if he meant to say that or he was just trying to be nice about it, but I was like, no, I don't think so. You know, but my point is that you know, I do understand what it's like to be the rebound, so I just wanted to kind of relate that to Clarissa Shields and the Black Captain. You know, that you just have to understand the fact that you're filling a void between them, because the fact that they're still going back and forth like this with each other, and you guys are right beside them while they're doing this, that says a lot, right? And so, like I said, like when I said that the last two relationships parallel with each other, because the last one I've been in, that was like that one, oh goodness, toxic at its finest, and I don't even know where to begin with that one, but I'm just going to give you a cliff note because I don't want to get too deep into that relationship. But I just wanted to let you know how both relationships parallel, because again, you know, going through a divorce, you know, I packed up my son and we went to California, because I was truly on believing that I just found my person, and we were going to, you know, do this. We're going to do the marriage thing. Like I said, you would think I would have learned the first time, right? You know, of not jumping into things until everything is finalized, right? But no, I couldn't see past what I wanted. And this is during the time when I was in training for a new job with the city of New York. Everything was going fine. I had my own place, you know, my son was just transitioning from the school that he was in. I had, sacrificed I left everything behind. And I mean, major leap, loving hard, major leap. I given up my life as I knew it to go to California, where it was no one I knew, just him. And I really thought that we was going to work. And even though the red flags, I think the Lord had given me, not even red flags, it was more like burgundy flags, just really up until the time that I moved. As I was packing my stuff to move and the movers was coming, we had an argument, or we just had these conflicts, and all of these signs was telling me this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong. But of course, again, wanting to have that family life, wanting to find love and have that dynamic, with my son, and just living happily ever after. It was just the worst decision ever. And that's that was the start of my son and I in our strained relationship. That was the decision that led up to where we are right now, but it was like a back and forth between him and his ex, and him dealing with all that, back and forth court stuff. And then we was going through, it was just like I said, I'm trying real hard to give you just the cliff notes without digging too deep, because as I think about it, it's like, wow. I went through, and it's like, it was hard because I was all the way in California. Remind you, I moved from New York to California, and he knew I didn't have anyone near me or around me to help me or protect me as I was going through whatever I was going through. And him, it seemed like he had bipolar symptoms. And again, I'm not trying to diagnose him, but that's the way it was. It was just toxic all around. So I left that situation. I had to start over, once I got back to New York, because I had to start over, because I gave up my apartment. I gave up my job, and I had to start over. I was in a shelter system for a little while. Disclosure. That's how much of starting over I had to do from that situation. But again, once I got out that situation, I found out that he got married again. He had got married again. He had twins with this person, and they ended up getting divorced like a few years later. And see how that parallel from the other relationship. He got married again, gotten divorced. So it's so funny how those two situations parallel with each other. And again, me being a rebound, I still end up being the odd one out. I still end up getting the short end of the stick. So my point is that, when you're the rebound, don't think that you're going to get the greener grass. It's not going to happen. It rarely happens. When you just accept the fact that you're a placeholder. You're a placeholder until they even if they don't reconcile with their spouses, they're going to move on to the next best thing, because they're not ready to settle down at that moment. They're not ready. They're not truly ready. They're going to make you believe they are, but they're not ready. But they're going to enjoy the perks of being in a relationship. They're going to enjoy the perks of you giving your all into that person. They're going to enjoy the perks of you preparing yourself to be a mate for them. And that's not where they are right now. That's not where they are right now. They're not where you want to, they're not where you want to be. They're not where you want them to go. Okay? So just understand that you could be giving the best of yourself, giving all of yourself, but when you're in the rebound, if you're a placeholder, your in the meantime, in between time, chances are you're not gonna see the long haul with them. It's not gonna happen. So that was my point. I know that was like kind of winded a little bit, but I had to bring it home somehow. The only way for me to bring this point home, I need to give some context to it. Okay? And so just, take my advice, the block holder and Clarissa and block holder, just take heed to that, that you are a space filler. And I heard Clarissa was talking about planning on having a child with him, and they're gonna, and like I said, it might happen. I can't really predict anything that might happen, but I just doubt it. I have serious doubt about that. So I'm just kind of letting them, kind of let them know that Remy and Pap, they're still fighting this thing out. They still trying to figure out who they are right now and where they want to be right now. And I know they can't stand each other right now, but you have to allow them to heal. They're still in the healing process, and that's, people have to understand that just because they're back and forth with each other, just because you see them having passion for one another, it doesn't mean that they're going to end up back together. Because why would you want to do that? Especially if you see both sides and how they speak on each other, and and what they put out there to the public. Why would you want them to be reunited? Why would you want that type of toxicity into your space around your children? Why would you want to encourage them? They might as well get back together, because the way they go back and forth with each other, you can tell they still love each other. Okay, they still love each other. Okay, they still love each other. That's fine. But love don't love nobody. I mean, you can love someone, but you can still love them enough to set them free. Shout out to Sting. I'm going to be singing. I'm going to have a lot of song references too, by the way. A lot of movie quotes I'm going to use. Bible quotes I'm going to use. So I'm just letting you know now. But yeah, so just because you love someone, it doesn't mean that, God has ordained them to be together. Because some people are in your life for a reason or for a season. And with Pap and Remy, I'm sure that there was a reason why they were together the way they were, or it was in divine order for them to be in that space with each other for that moment. But sometimes the moment has to pass, and you have to allow them the space and opportunity to find love elsewhere. It's fine. It's okay. You don't have to automatically think that it's okay to stay with someone just because you love them. Okay. So, I just wanted to just, kind of, have a deeper dive into these broken homes and divorces, and but I'm still trying to figure out who else did I mention? Who else did I mention? Halle Bailey and DDG, young couple. And I think I was around Holly's age when I had my son, I believe. I was 22, but yeah. I know a lot of people have their opinions, strong opinions about DDG, okay? And I've seen some of his commentary. I've seen how he expresses himself and on social media. And I know people want to say that he's lame and he's this and he's that. But overall, I have no reason to dislike DDG. I think he's very intelligent. I think he's very smart. I don't know. I'm not sure how talented he is, because I honestly haven't heard his music or anything like that. So I can't, I don't have an opinion on that. So I'm not going to go there. But, I don't see him as a horrible human being, that as people may want to make him out to be. I don't see Holly as a horrible human being. I think, people, we see her as the princess. We see us, beautiful, talented. I mean, she's a force. And, I'm proud of her. And I'm also proud of him and his accomplishments. They own their separate lanes, And I know a lot of people might say that DDG is more known, because of Halle. I have no comment about that, but I just feel like you need to allow people to be their own individual selves. And so when it comes to their relationship, I'm not even going into the co-parenting thing yet. I just want to focus on their relationship. They started off young, and they seem to be happy together. They seem to kind of work together, even though they did not want him with her at all. And I hear people saying, we try to warn you, Halle. We try to warn you. You can't tell someone who to love and who to be with. There are people that are going to do what they're going to do. They're going to make their own decisions, and you have to be there for them based on the outcome of their decisions. But people are going to make their own decisions. You can't, you could talk up to you, blowing your face about who this person is or how you experience them, because your experience with someone doesn't have to match mine. So you can't tell an adult how to interact with someone. You can't tell an adult not to have, be in a relationship with this particular person based on your experience with them or what you see about them. Because you may have those vibes about them, you may feel a certain way about that person, but it's still that person's decision as to whether or not they decide to be with them or not. And it was Halle's decision. And so if she has to live with that decision, that is her. But if you go through life basing your social circle or basing your interaction with people on what other people have to say about them, then you're not going to have many friends or people around you if you're going to use your discernment that way. You have to use your own discernment, not anybody else's. Because at the end of the day, you have to be the one to be a judge of how you want to deal with that person. So Halle made her decision to be with this person, and she's still young enough to experience. Because these are teachable moments here, right? She had a teachable moment. Experience is the best teacher. We all have had experiences where we got involved with someone that we probably shouldn't have, but we did anyway, and we suffer consequences. That's how it is. We suffer consequences for our actions, for our decisions, and we have to live with them. So she has to live with her decision. DDG has to live with his. On that note, neither one of them are innocent. Let's just put that out there. Neither one of them are innocent. They both have the part to play in their demise of their relationship and how they're battling out for their son. And I really hope that their son doesn't feel too much of the impact of the divide between their parents. And I really hope that they're really able to come to a resolution sooner than later with this matter. Because I don't want to, like I said, I don't want to delve too much into these stories, but I just want to give my perspective on certain things just for some content purposes. But I just feel like they need to come to a resolution as soon as possible. I'm not sure about her taking a baby that's barely 1 year old outside of the country. I know that's her son. I know some people say that she has an unhealthy attachment to her son, Halo, but I don't know what to say about that, because she's a young parent and her son is barely 1 year old. I don't think he's 18 months, and she's a first-time parent. And so so to say that she has an unhealthy attachment, I know that you're going off of some of the posts that she's done, some of the videos that she's done about how she can't feel like she can't breathe or live without her son. And I think you have to take a lot of things literally when it comes to that. But I did also see a video of when they had celebrated his birthday, and she kept reaching for him, and I think DDG knew what she was trying to do the whole time, and she just kept reaching for him and trying to hold him. And it's like, okay, that right there, I was like, okay, now you're doing too much, Halle. I know you're doing too much. Let his father have his time with him. So I get that part. But I know some parents that are overprotective of their children. But as far as her leaving the country for work and wanting the baby with her, I think there needs to be a compromise. And I think that the child's father has the right to have some reservations about that. It's not. I don't think that he's intentionally trying to keep her away from him, from the baby. But I just feel like they both have the right as parents to have certain reservations about the decisions in regards to their child. Just like she had reservations about him bringing the baby to Kai Cenat's platform, to his podcast. So she had an issue with that, and she made it clear in public, even though she did apologize for it because, again, being overprotective and symptoms of postpartum, because that is a real thing, and I think a lot of men do need to understand it is a real thing, and you got to be a little bit more sympathetic about that. But I just really hope that both parents, without all of the outside forces and influences to affect their ability to have a more healthier co-parenting relationship. So that also goes for Keke Palmer and Darius Jackson. I know I think they have a united front, even though we have them getting back together. I mean, I think people might have their opinions about that, but if it works for them and they're able to maintain a healthy relationship for the sake of their child, I respect it. I may not agree with it, but I respect the fact that they want to maintain a united front for the sake of their child. That's understandable. So I'm just kind of putting things out there, just kind of expressing my opinions about all these different dynamics, just to kind of point out some factors when it comes to broken homes, broken families, and how even though it's very realistic, but doesn't mean that it has to continue to happen. It doesn't mean that it has to continue to be toxic. It doesn't have to continue to be such a cesspool of mess, but I think we just need to find ways to break the cycle, because if you know how your actions impact you and other people around you, and you keep making the same decisions over and over again, that is insanity, right? That's considered insanity, right? So I just feel like we just need to just be mindful of the decisions that we make and how we approach relationships. We got to be mindful of who we have children with, because again, I could share my experience as well. You just got to be mindful. But I still don't want us to be programmed to believe that we're not capable of finding true love or being in a space where we can have a healthy relationship with someone, whether it's through marriage, whether it's through casual dating or relationships. We can still maintain healthy interactions with people. We just have to learn how to interact with the person based on what type of energy they give you. If you see someone for who they are, don't try to fix them. Don't try to act like you could change them. See them for who they are and go from there. Like I said, I just wanted to give some commentary outside of just giving like the basics. I already gave you my introductions on my last couple of videos, so I'm just trying to feel my way around, trying to, kind of, bob and weave in between topics and just kind of get a broader spectrum when it comes to the topic of broken families and broken homes, and just giving my perspective on it. I know that, again, I know I was rambling a few times, but I just wanted to just share my opinion. And I know I may have some people that may not agree with me. I hope that you guys can comment on it. I really welcome your perspective on it as well, and we can have the discussion, definitely. But I'm going to end it here. I'm not going to speak any more about it. I just wanted to kind of put something out here. And I hope that you got something from it. I hope that you would support the channel, like, comment, and subscribe, like they say, you know. But I'm definitely going to be coming in, even if I got to do a couple of short videos and, you know, kind of keep you abreast to what I'm doing or what's going on, and just kind of, you know, say hello, you know, shout you guys out, whatever's clever. All right, so I thank you so much for joining me here, and I'm going to sit here and watch my show Beyond the Gates. That I'm enjoying that so far. I don't know if I'm going to do any reviews on that. I'm not sure. You know, you let me know. But that's what I'm going to do right now. In the meantime, I wish you much blessings and